So let's talk about something that's keeping a lot of executives up at night: generative AI. It's not just the next cool tech toy, it's a whole new universe of risk. And right now, companies are basically scrambling to write the rulebook for a game that's changing by the second.
All right, so here's how we're going to break this all down. First up, we'll get into why Gen AI risk is a totally different animal. Then we'll map out the actual dangers. After that, we'll look at the new playbooks being built to control it, see how that works in the real world, and you'll definitely want to stick around to the end because we're going to connect all of this to the future of AI itself. It's a big one.
Okay, so let's start with the big question. Why can't a company just dust off its old IT security plan and add a chapter on AI? Just another software update. Well, the short answer is because this isn't just another piece of software. It's a fundamentally different kind of technology.
Think about it like this. On one side, you've got your traditional software. It's like a calculator, totally predictable. You type in 2 plus 2 and it gives you 4 every single time. It follows the rules, no questions asked. But then you've got Gen AI. It's not a calculator. It's more like a super intelligent, incredibly creative brainstormer. It can come up with brilliant ideas, but it's also unpredictable, and sometimes it just flat out makes stuff up.
And that unpredictability leads to this really wild concept that researchers call emergent properties. What does that mean? It means these massive AI models start developing skills and behaviors that nobody programmed into them. Even their own creators are often surprised. The system literally starts doing things it was never ever taught how to do. It's emergent.
So you can imagine this completely changes the security game. We're not just talking about firewalls and network security anymore. This creates brand new ways for bad actors to cause trouble, entirely new attack surfaces. We're talking about things like prompt injection, where you can sneak hidden instructions into a prompt to hijack the AI, or even data poisoning, where you corrupt the very data it learns from to compromise the whole model from the inside out.
Okay, so now that we know why it's so different, let's get specific. What are the actual dangers that businesses are wrestling with right now?
Before we even get to the sci-fi stuff, the biggest, most immediate risk is actually way more mundane. What if it just doesn't work? And get this, according to a recent MIT report, a staggering 95%, that's 95 of business attempts to use Gen AI are failing to deliver any kind of real value. That's a huge problem.
So to try and make sense of this mess, experts have started grouping these risks into 5 big buckets. You can see they cover the whole spectrum, from the big picture strategic and economic risks, all the way down to security, ethics, and legal compliance. And the key thing to remember is they're all connected.
All right, let's talk about one of the biggest operational risks, one you've definitely heard of: hallucinations. Now, here's the part that really trips people up. This isn't a bug. You can't just patch it and make it go away. It is a core feature of how these AI models work. They're designed to be creative predictors, which means sometimes they'll confidently state something as fact that is just completely made up. And believe me, this has real-world consequences. There was this now infamous court case where 2 lawyers got into serious trouble. Why? They submitted a legal brief that cited 6 different court cases, all of which were completely fabricated by ChatGPT. The AI just invented them, and they ran with it.
Next up is data risk, and this one is huge. See, when your employees use public AI tools, that data they're plugging in, it often gets used to train the next version of the model. So you can see the problem, right? People can accidentally leak incredibly sensitive company secrets. We've seen this happen at massive companies like Amazon and Samsung, where proprietary code and internal data were just fed right into a public AI.
Okay, so that's a pretty scary list of risks. It's a lot. And that's exactly why the new buzzword in every boardroom is governance. This is all about building the playbook, the rule book for how to use this powerful new technology safely and, actually effectively. The tricky part is there's no single, off-the-shelf playbook that works for everyone. We're seeing a few different major frameworks pop up around the world. You've got the US model from NIST, which is more of a voluntary, flexible guide. Then you have the EU AI Act, which is the opposite. It's mandatory, with hard and fast rules. And then you have more theoretical ideas coming out of academia, which treat AI like a complex system you have to constantly manage.
So what are the smartest companies doing? Are they picking Team USA or Team EU? Well, neither. The really savvy organizations are realizing that you can't just pick one. To handle a technology this complex, you have to build your own hybrid model.
And this hybrid model is really brilliant. It has two main parts. Think of it like a house. First, you need a solid compliance floor. This is your foundation, a set of hard, prescriptive rules for all the dangers you already know about. This is your EU AI Act part. But then, you also need an adaptive ceiling. This is like a dynamic nervous system for the house. It's constantly learning, constantly responding to new threats, the unexpected stuff that no rulebook could ever possibly cover.
That all sounds great in theory, right? A floor and a ceiling. But what does it actually look like in the real world? Let's dive into the actual toolkit companies are using to make this happen day to day.
The key to making this work is that you always need a mix of human policies and technical automated safeguards. They have to work together. Take hallucinations, for example. The human policy control, you mandate that a person has to fact-check the output. Simple enough. But the technical safeguard, you use a system, something called RAG, to force the AI to base its answers only on a set of trusted internal data. See? You're combining human and machine controls for the same problem.
But here's where we hit a snag. That human oversight piece, it's often the part that's missing. A recent McKinsey survey found something pretty alarming. It showed that more than a quarter of companies are reviewing 20% or less of their AI-generated content. Just think about that. That's a massive, massive blind spot.
Okay, so I want to zoom out for a minute. Because all of this stuff, corporate governance, risk mitigation, all of it, it's not just about business. It actually connects to a much, much bigger question. A profound question, really, about our future with AI.
See, the technology isn't standing still. We're already starting to move beyond the kind of generative AI we have today and into the era of what's being called agentic AI. And the difference is huge. These aren't just tools that answer a prompt anymore. These are autonomous agents that you can give a goal to, and they can independently plan and execute a series of tasks out in the real world to achieve it. And this brings us right to the doorstep of the single biggest question in AI safety research. It's called the alignment problem. And it's this. How do we build an AI that pursues the goals we give it without causing some kind of terrible, unintended harm because it took our instructions too literally? How do we make sure its values are aligned with our values?
And here is the big reveal. This is why everything we've been talking about matters so much. All those corporate governance problems we're facing today, they're just low-stakes, miniature versions of the alignment problem. Think about it. Figuring out how to stop a sales AI from doing something illegal to maximize revenue is the exact same kind of problem as figuring out how to stop a future superintelligence from harming humanity to achieve whatever goal we give it. So this reframes the entire conversation, doesn't it? What's happening inside companies right now isn't just about quarterly profits or avoiding lawsuits. You could say the corporate boardroom has become the most important real-world laboratory we have. It's the first testing ground for figuring out how we, as a species, are going to build AI that is safe, that is controllable, and that is ultimately aligned with human values.